Good morning, traders. How we doing out there? Guess what? Hasn't talking. The market's moving. Amazon getting hit as people are a little upset as they're doing a little bit of a power move. We'll talk all about that. SoFi earnings. There's GM earnings. There's so much to talk about, guys. Honeywell, PayPal. We got so much to get into, guys. Let's kick things off. You guys know where you're at. It's Trade the Pool. Start that countdown. My man Steve's ready in the background. I know I'm ready. Let's go get that money. Hugo wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
All right, traders, let's go ahead. Let's bring on the man himself. Steve, what's going on? Justy Trades. The good old there you go.
Here I am.
Click. Just like that. What's going on, man? How we doing, Steve?
Oh, we're chilling. We're chilling. Like you said, lots of exciting stuff to talk about. Did you happen to keep track of hymns this morning?
Of course, I was watching hymns, man. And breaking news in that. Let's go to it. Let's talk a little bit about that stock as definitely one of the top watches of the day. And that thing was an absolute rocket ride as it just shot up on the news. And of course, what is that news? As Novo Nordisk, of course, and Hims and Hers announced a long-term collaboration for a bundled offering of the FDA approved, of course, Wegovy, of course, the weight loss drug. And the reason why this is a very important aspect is that Hims was already getting kind of attacked by Eli Lilly and others for kind of getting the generic drugs out there, right? And getting after it in that sense. And essentially, even I remember the PR of Eli Lilly like saying, well, why are you guys going to Hims? You guys can just go directly to us and get it cheaper. There was a battle here. And it was a lot on the FDA and kind of things like that. And would they come in here and kind of cancel this? And well, there you guys see it right back up there. And this run, of course, was that run that kind of got this big move that got going. We're back down. We closed it 100% of the time. And now we start to get moves really big, right? I was talking about this yesterday as I started to see retail really start taking a look at Palantir and others. And I talked about SoFi being one of those that retail was going to come after. And today, they came after it all right with a good earnings report. All good mentions. I watched the interview on CNBC this morning, and trust me, I don't watch too many of these, but when they actually have CEOs on, I watch. So I was watching that interview. Really good news out there. So Hims, the retail favorite, a lot of retail favorite names getting a big boost. What are you thinking here, Steve?
I mean, I think it's a good sign, right? It seems like we're trending in the right direction. It seems like I guess this wasn't actually earnings. I assumed it was when I was looking at the big movers. It seems like most catalysts are being received well, and I mean that's a good sign for the market as a whole, right?
Yeah, this was a big pop there. I think it was a little unexpected. There were some people like in the streets like pounding the chest, but I was like, man, you didn't know this news headline was coming out today, but I understood why you were watching it yesterday, right? And now that made sense to me. And the big part of it was just looking to see the retail favorites, the darlings, come back into play. That's exactly what happened here. So momentum is back into play. Now, what can kill momentum is what you need to be asking yourself, right? It's bad news. There hasn't been bad news, guys. There's been nothing but slightly positive news or no news. And no news is just as good as positive news sometimes, guys. When the market is in like a kind of like a teeter-totter, just ready to fall, the only thing that can help it a lot of times is no news. Just stop the bleeding, essentially. And that's what happened here. So the slow grind up is what happens a lot of the time once we get that uncertainty off. Now, the only thing that can really, I think, take us back to the lows is another ramp up of tariffs or another retaliation from China or something like that. We actually have to get negative news for the market to come down. It's not just going to come down because, oh, the stocks have come up too fast. That's not the reason, guys. That's where I think a lot of the people and the bears are sitting in. They're thinking, well, the market has to come back down, right? It's gone up too fast. Well, no. And there's one thing that I've noticed, guys, and I can tell you guys this as being the resident bear here, that you can't do it, guys. You can't fight the market. And the market loves to go up. It doesn't love to go down. That's one thing that I can just tell you right now. It doesn't love to do it. And when it does start going back up, it can lift all tides where you're starting to see. And one of the things that's interesting is, will technology take part in the rally? It really hasn't. I've talked about this yesterday. I think I continued to talk about it yesterday. What was lagging in the first part of the day and why we were red? It was technology. What came back towards the later part of the day? Technology, guys. So I think that's what we continue to watch here. It's a big tech week, of course, and it's going to determine if we go back to the lows or not. I can just call it like that because I just think that if these earnings for some reason were to surprise on the downside or some really bad guidance from one of these big boys, right? Well, yeah, that could bring us back to those lows because it's going to be a gap down mode. Not I just deteriorate in the intraday and go back to those lows. I think that action is very low probability to happen. And so if there's any way to get us back towards those lows, it's an overnight gap down. And then all the traders get caught like this, deer in headlights, right? The gap down, right? Those are the hardest things. This is why we always tell you guys, you do have access to after hours and pre-market trading. This is where a lot of traders, they don't even trade in those hours and they don't save themselves, right? So you got to be paying attention after hours, especially during this week, because you never know what can happen, right? And it's going to be all about tariff and guidance outlook, not necessarily beats and misses, because no one cares about the past. Everyone cares about the future. They always say that the market is looking out in time, right? Is it 3 months, 6 months, right? And I think in this case, the market is looking ahead, thinking that there's going to be a deal coming. What do we keep hearing? 17 countries, even today, Bastin talking about deals and deals. We still haven't gotten one yet. Now, that's something definitely to keep on watch. But it's interesting, the conversation there. All right. So there's a lot to get into today, my friend. Where should we go to next, man? Should we touch some more earnings? I even have a historical chart that I want to reference to in a little bit. Mark Minervini coming in with a historical chart that my good old Bears out there will be jumping up and down. But we'll see what happens, guys. I'm going to save that chart for during the show. That's one of those nice conversation pieces. We'll save that historical outlook during the show. Let's go to some more earnings here. Let's get to Spotify. This is another one that is a good name to look for an actual up move here. I know it's getting the down move here off of this report, but it was lifting because of the outlook into this. This was kind of more of a buy the rumor, sell the news event here on Spotify. Why was it lifting? Well, some people thought, well, I mean, if there's one company that might not be affected by tariffs, it could be a company like Spotify, right? Like, it doesn't get charged, there's no labor in China because it's Spotify, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's why it was getting the lift before this report, and now it's taking the hit right back towards the support. So if we could have a bullish day, I wouldn't be too mad of trying to look to see if maybe this can hold the lows and start working its way back, right? We'll see what happens there on Spotify. The EPS big miss is what really brought it down. It was at 113 versus a 221 estimate. So something's in there, right? So I got to do a little bit of a deeper dive into the earnings report. I'm sure someone's already done it. But what was it? I think it's part of this moment. It dropped 100 million on podcast creators gunning for the YouTube throne. And so I think that's where you're seeing this EPS come down. Why are the earnings coming down? Because they're spending more, right? And so with that spend, what are they trying to do? They're trying to capture the audience, because the truth is YouTube is growing. And I look at it nowadays and I think about how much podcasting has opened up. If you thought podcasting was big 2 years ago, it's nothing like it is today. There's athletes, celebrities, and all types of different people out there that have podcasts on YouTube, right? So what does Spotify want to do? It wants to make them exclusive, because exclusivity is what created Netflix. And Spotify essentially takes that strategy and takes it to the audio side. That's what they did, guys. So I think that's why Spotify has done so good in the past, and why Spotify will continue to do great here. We just got to watch to see if they can go ahead and bounce back from this. Revenues weren't too off, 4.41 billion versus a 4.21 billion estimate. So good beat there. Monthly active users, 689,000. That's just 89 million. That is ridiculous. I mean, hey, Spotify isn't going away anytime soon, guys. Continue to watch to see what happens here. And look for companies like this. It might not even be affected by tariffs no matter what. So, hey, not a bad move there. Let's go to SoFi. They have a good report there. EPS at 6 cents, 4 cents on the EPS. So beating the estimate there by 2 cents on the EPS. Revenues at 770.7 versus a 739 million. Not bad. They raised the full year outlook here towards 27 cents to 28 cents versus a 26-cent estimate. So just a couple smidgen up there. And I saw the CEO's interview. He sounded really positive. He even mentioned that, I think, a good comment. He was like, I love being bearish, but I can't be bearish here. I was like, oh, that's how you do it, CEOs. CEOs, take note of that line right there. I love being bearish, but even I can't be bearish here. Freaking good line, man. That's that guy. Good interview there. Anthony Noto, I think is his name. And so shout out to him because there's only certain CEOs that can really talk an interview up. And that was a great interview. He talked about the strength. He also talked about fractional shares, of how a lot of he's seeing a lot of fractional shares buying on his platform and things like that. So, hey, SoFi has been something that I think a lot of the young and generation really has bought into. And this was a SPAC favorite. Yes, Michael Noss, you're hearing it right now. SPAC favorite. It's made a comeback, man. It's made the comeback, right? I mean, at one point, you know, this was the SPAC days. It did all this. And now look at the earnings, though, right? We went from a negative 14 cents to now we're on the positive side of things. And I think that's what you got to continue to watch. As long as the estimates can continue going higher and higher on the EPS, you're looking better for SoFi.
Yeah, definitely strong move. And you can see from your Bollinger Bands there, I mean, it's in breakout mode. So we got to see if this thing has legs and it can drag up the rest of the fintech sector with it. Yeah. So hopefully it can turn the leader.
One way of trading SoFi today would be the SOFX. And so, of course, a little leverage action. I took a little scalp on this earlier today. We'll see what happens on SOFX. We'll look to see if that can continue to rise there. I was able to take a little trade on it this morning. We'll see what happens if SoFi can continue making moves. I think it's not a bad name to keep a watch on. All right, let's go to PayPal as, of course, kind of a fintech space, right? Where we're still staying in there, and PayPal getting a little bit of a lift. A lot of this off of Venmo mentions, guys. If you guys don't know, of course, PayPal owns Venmo, and Venmo increased in transactions and users, and that's the only growth space for PayPal. I'll tell you guys right now is Venmo. That's what's looking better here, but I honestly think that PayPal is, and I've said it before, guys, it's a dying brand. There's very few out there that have this kind of a chart where you'll look back in time and be like, man, this thing was absolutely on a rocket ride. But then it completely died in 22. Completely dying. And when that happened, I think that it never came back. And with that being said, just take a look at XYZ or Block or whatever you want to call it, right? It's the same chart. They go with each other. Industry moves, not stock-wide moves, right? We talk about this often. This is why I talk about it so much, guys. You follow sectors and industries, and guess what? The stocks follow those industries, right? This was a destruction of not just one name. right? And it even weighed on a name that I thought would do awesome, and I'm continuing to watch it, which is Toast. Toast is a competitor to all of these, right? And I'm watching this one as it starts to make a comeback. It hasn't done bad, right? It's gone from 20 to 40. It doubled, but one that I continue to watch, and I kind of like it. It's just more of the manner that, hey, they all need to get sexy for this to work, right? Toast needs to start looking better. PayPal needs to start looking better. And Block needs to start looking better. If they all look better, yes, I'm open doors for trading these to the upside. Other than that, I think you still see that struggle. Toast still being the newer player, the newer entry. And it's not a bad one. And this is all about like kind of your small business approach, right? This is for a lot of small businesses. When you go and, you put your card, you see all those square pays that you see around. Well, this would be a different one, Toast. I've used Toast before. Have you used Toast before? It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's a good service. I'm a fan of it. And the chart looks pretty constructive to me compared to the previous ones mentioned. So I have high hopes for it leading out. But like you said, I think it's just not sexy enough. I mean,
it's not in space.
You could always buy JPM, that's the thing. It's hard to justify the fin part or the tech part of the fintech right now.
Yep. Let's go to another one here. We got more earning stocks, and there's earning stocks galore, guys. So if you guys have a specific name you want to talk about, make sure you throw it up in the chat. It's good to see you guys out there. Jay Angelo, Kevin, good morning to all you guys out there. Where is Michael? Michael is in New York today, guys. He will be back, of course, and he's out there on the Stock Twits Life conference. And hey, I can't blame the man for going on conferences. I don't know how he gets it out there with the wife. My wife would be like, no, you're not going nowhere right now. But hey, that's how it is. I wish him the best of luck. I hope he's having a good time out there. So I'm sure he's probably doing a little less trading. And, of course, his system's probably just going to take some trades out there. But we'll see what we come up with here, guys, and make some good money. AC, what's up out there? It's good to see you. Let's keep it going. Let's go to the next stock here as Pfizer's earnings came in. But you know what? I'm going to skip Pfizer because it's 9:21. I want to talk some other action out there. Pfizer, it's been a dog. It's going to stay a dog. It's a dog with fleas, and I feel bad because this is the dog that gets left behind, guys. I don't like any dog left behind, but this Pfizer one, I don't know if I can even touch it, man. This is definitely an ugly pig, and they're not putting any makeup on it, guys. So I don't think this is ever going to turn. And Pfizer, I don't even know. It'll probably just get bought out for like, patents or patent reasons or something. But this chart does not look like it's going to change anytime soon. And of course, we all know what they did. They doubled, tripled down on COVID, and that didn't turn out well. All right, let's continue going. We'll go to some other names. I know Regeneron also had earnings, but that one's also not doing well. It just seems to me like the biotechs are not doing well unless you have a weight loss drug.
Yeah, just about. There's a few select names I'm interested in. I do think there's a lot of room on some of these charts. But again, what's sexier than this Lilly chart, right? It feels like money's just kind of flooding into the leaders there.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the monthly chart. And I tell you, a lot of traders to look at this when they're looking at healthcare. You can't look too close watch on healthcare. You got to look a little deeper, and that makes it look a lot cleaner. Right? Yeah. All these pullbacks just look a lot cleaner, and you can see all these wicks. What are those? Those are buying wicks, man. Every time it's coming into that space, big money seeing it on those monthly supports and saying, well, if this stock wants to come back to resistance 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 months, it's coming back all the way to that resistance. Why not just play the range, right? And it doesn't mean that they even are saying that it's going to 1,000. It just means they're probably just buying up down here, just averaging in down here and selling it right back on the rip as it gets back up there towards the resistance. We'll see what happens now. I think you got to continue to watch these as the XLV has been kind of a little bit on a chop session, right? I think this is how it's going to be this year, guys. The weight loss drugs will go back and forth, and we can't forget, right? We have a little bit of a erratic person behind the health department. I'm going to call it. I tried to use the best word for it. But yeah, this can flip in an instant, guys. That's why I'm a little bit scared about healthcare this year. There could be headlines any day, and headline risk right now is at its all-time high. That's all I'll say on that one. Let's get out of Lilly and Pfizer. Last one, GM. GM earnings getting hit here, guys. And I've talked about how I thought GM would keep going down with the tariffs mentioned. And GM was one of the best outlooks from the street out there. The analysts that were looking at this, and they were giving good numbers at the beginning of the year. Now they're completely flipping. Of course, the earnings here coming in at 278 versus 273 estimate. Revenues at 44.02 billion versus a 43.15 billion estimate. So not looking bad there on the numbers, but the caution flag, right? The previous full guide now labeled unreliable. Due to evolving tariff impacts. And we got to continue to watch to see what happens, right? Of course, GM makes 50% of its vehicles outside of the U.S. That is going to cause a big issue. Another big issue for them, they make their pickup truck outside of the U.S., which is, of course, a very expensive vehicle that also has great margins. But if it's outside of the U.S., those margins go kapoof. So there you guys have it. Of course, their pickup truck are made in Mexico, and that's going to cause some deep issues here. So, of course, now another thing to think about is Trump is expected to ease auto tariffs. We've heard about this mention since, I think, last week. But now it's at this point where when are the mentions actually going to be mentioned, right? When are the exacts? Today is specifically mentioned as one of those days that could be released, that information. So I think you got to continue to watch these. And GM could actually have a positive day. That news could be a spike to GM, even though it's still a negative, right? It's like a little bit of a conundrum there because it's a negative and a positive. What are they going to be adjusting here is the important part. So the tariffs on parts may be refunded up to 3.75% for the U.S. Car value in year one. Reimbursement drops to 2.5 in year two and then phases out. CEOs from GM and Ford applauded the move if this is what's going to happen. Of course, it would help Ford a little bit more because Ford creates 60% of its vehicles in the U.S., right? So a little bit better. It's not like a lot better, but it's a little bit better. The best one, of course, it's for Tesla, right? Because, of course, the vehicles are made here, and that's going to help them a little bit. But we'll continue to watch to see what happens with this. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep taking a look to see what else is out there. I know there was a lot of talk by Bassin. I haven't caught all the comments because I was live with Trader TV, but I did hear more mentions about the Amazon mention. I saw the mention this morning. I had it in my news. I didn't get it on Sunrise, but we'll talk about it. Amazon taking a big hit, as Bassin said that they were doing retaliatory kind of measures, right? I already saw this. I saw the headline early this morning, and I was like, something's going to get mentioned on this because Amazon has never done this in the past, and it's definitely an unprecedented. What are they doing? They pulled a power move. They said, you know what? Y'all want to do tariffs that we don't believe in? Well, we're going to put the price of our product, and then next to it, we're going to put the price that it is because of the tariffs. So there's a Trump trying to call right now and say, Steve, you'll tell Mitch to calm it down. But yeah, no calming down here, guys. Amazon is telling you that here, this is the price that we normally would have had for you. This is the price that Trump has caused. That's a big take there to show you that tariff price. And of course, this is normal. Where did the products come from Amazon? Guess what? They're making margins on you, baby. They're buying it from China, putting it up on Amazon, and making money. I can tell you guys right now, it was one of these things as a small little example, right? I like to bring in little stories for you guys. So a small example here. My wife loves those little kind of pins, like collectible pins. They have all like the nostalgia, where we grew up. Maybe it's a SpongeBob or whatever it may be. And then these pins go on Amazon for what? They go for like $12 sometimes, a single pin. And then I said, you know what? I was like, I know you like these and all. Let me just look at if they have them on like Temu or something like that. Then I realized these things get sold for 50 cents to $1 on Temu and then get thrown up for $12 on Amazon each. I
That's
was
a good
like,
hustle
man,
right there, Mitch.
I was like, man, these guys are making like 1,100% return on their investment. And I was like, you know what, wife, I'll just buy you like 30 of them just to test this out to see if they come. I was like, this could be a business within itself, man.
I was gonna say we're in the wrong line of work here. 1,100% margins, sign me up.
Right. So this is the thing that happens right underneath you guys. And I think that we got to watch this. Bell's coming here, guys. We'll see what happens to Amazon. This could be a little bit of some backlash kind of hit here, but I think it's definitely a little bit overdone too, right? They didn't do anything different. They just told you about the tariffs that you're going to see. And then Bassett went there and poo-pooed them. So they took a hit there. Let's go to SoFi to start it off here. Let's see if this can continue to grind higher. It's holding the 9 EMA line, and I think that that's the line that I want to see hold if it wants to continue grinding here. We'll see what happens if we get a little bit of a pullback in SoFi. Another one to start looking at, and I think you can really start looking at, is growth names overall. I feel like the door has been open, so start looking at names like Unity. Start looking at names like at Roku. Start looking at names like at Zoom. Today, I think, is definitely one of those days where the risk off and risk on type of mentality and growth names could be getting the move. So I'm watching for those types of names to keep pushing. And that tells me right there, Unity is one definitely getting a little lift here.
We are going. I didn't want to interrupt. I did grab a quick small long. I wanted more, so I just took a taste. But we're in the supply zone for me. So under 550 here, I do believe we will see some buying. I'm keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, the 550 line
off here though, just because I was not expecting it to move that much. If it comes back, I'll just add to it.
Unity pushing up well there. SoFi pulled back to the 14, held it. Now starting to bounce a little bit there. We'll see if we get a little bit more pullback out there. And looking around to see what moves can happen out there. SMR is still on my radar. We'll take a look to see if gold finally pulls back. It had a strong day yesterday, even though the market had a strong day. Looking at potentially pullbacks there.
I kind of want to short it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and UPS, good mention there, Kevin, about them laying off 20,000 people as Amazon slows down expansion and pretty much slows down the ordering through UPS, right? Because remember, they were using UPS to get their deliveries done. So they're using more of their own trucks now and trying to adjust from that. So, but Unity continuing to move here, man. I wanted some type of 1 minute pullback, but no 1 minute pullback on this. Look at that. All right, we'll see what happens out there. Looking around, see some growth names. AU starting to come down a little bit there. Will we get gold to crack a little bit today? I don't know. We'll see what happens. It is looking like a little crack here. I might go for a little short here on AU. See if I can start to get a little breakdown here as the market bounces a little bit. We'll see what happens here. That's about a 30-cent potential move here. But the only thing that I don't like about AU sometimes is the spread. The spread's about 12 cents there. All right, looking around to the market. Let's go looking around, guys. Let's take a look here at what's leading the day out the gates here. Technology and cyclicals leading out the gates here. It looks like leisure up at the top there and home furniture. So definitely seeing that kind of move that you don't expect. Even Lazy Boy showing up there. So definitely some names that you don't expect to see making a move here. Packaging, containers, leisure, gambling, making a nice little move. Of course, leisure had booking to report today as we're starting to see that lift there. We'll see if that can continue. RCL, CCL pulling back there. We'll look to see if that can make a nice little push.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm in a tanker play, FRO. That one's doing well today. That one's on the verge of breaking out longer term. So that's a good one to keep an eye on for sure.
There you go.
I'm also interested in Bitcoin here. I think it might be time.
Wonder how those shippers have been doing all that shipping conversation that's coming out of China.
It's been choppy seas to navigate for sure, but it does seem like they're pretty undervalued at this point. So
yeah, there's something there. There's something there. And Steve, feel free if you'd like share your screen up whenever you'd like. That way we'll definitely take some of your outlook.
Sure. I'm managing a trade here real quick, but then I got
Oh,
all
you do your thing.
extras
You do
for
your
you.
thing, my friend. Like always, focus on you, just like you guys out there. Focus on you. Make that money. That's what we're here for. That's what we're all looking to do. Let's get after it, guys. Let's go.
Let's see it. I don't think gold's quite ready for a short yet. I want to, but I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah, not quite ready either. All right, let's see the SPY here. SPY is kind of hanging out here, trying to come back to the 550. SoFi back up to the 1440s there as we try to get towards the 1450s. Like I mentioned, the 9 EMA holding there. That's exactly what happened there. It came right back to the 9 EMA, held there, right back to the top there, 1445. At some point, I think this could have a little bit of a pullback action, but right now it's looking like it wants 1450. Let's see if it takes it here. And from there, next stop for resistance could be up there towards the 1470s, as we could be breaking here the 1450s, getting up there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we got gold pushing. We got SPY flagging out for now, looking a little heavy. I'm going to be keeping an eye on where Bitcoin catches. I'd like to enter along, but I don't want to get too crazy here.
All right, looking at Unity to see if we can break above this 2270s. SPY just hanging in there right now. We'll see what happens. I will say that towards 10 o'clock, watch out, guys. We do got a lot coming in here that I think you should watch out for. All right, looking around, SPY kind of holding in there. We'll see if it actually makes a down move here. It's rejecting the VWAP a couple of times there. 1, 2, 3, 4 times there on the rejections there. Could be coming down a little bit here.
Yeah, I think it wants to flag here, but I'm not ready yet. I'm watching Bitcoin. I want to see it hold pre-market lows. Now it looks ready. Getting closer.
Yeah, getting closer for sure.
Yeah, SPY cooking. I took a tiny long in Bitcoin, and like I said, I took half off of my SPY trade. It came back down, held the bottom there, so I just added right back at my level. So that trade's working. I'd like to see Bitcoin catch pretty soon here. It's a little weaker than I would have liked, but I think it will follow SPY. Meanwhile, gold starting to post top wicks. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm still not quite ready to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, I'm watching GLD on the 15 minutes. It's like rejecting that 306 a couple of times. We'll see if it actually starts to come back down towards this 305. I want to see this 15-minute candle start to go red. We're still not getting red candles on the 15 minutes. Once this starts to turn, that could be that kind of look that I can go after AU. AU looks interesting for me right now, but I'm still watching that GLD. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, no, GLD still looks like it wants to push higher here. Yeah, so I'm going to keep an eye on it.
All right, SPY kind of fading a little bit there. We'll see if we start to get a little bit of a pullback. I think it's, one of the things is it has been pretty easy on the long side of here today. We'll see if we start to get another little bleed out like we got yesterday. And then later in the day, rip. That's what we got. And it seems like it's been the trend.
I have a theory that we are not quite done going up and we need to push and fill in the gap there. So that would be, I'd like that to be the straight shot move. So we will see how it plays out.
Spotify coming back a little bit there. Just trying to be patient here, guys. I do want to take some trades, but it's only 9:38. We'll see what happens here out the gates here. Other than that, I think one of the things that's interesting is now technology was green, right? Leading the upside. It's red now. Industrials are actually leading the upside there. So keep an eye out on that. We talked about shippers. So I'm looking around to see what's making a nice move there. I'm seeing some make some move, and looks like FedEx is up there. UPS actually coming up after that big pullback. At first spiked on the earnings, then came back below the earnings, and now trying to come back here. This thing moving all around. UPS doesn't move like this often, so this could also be a way to trade today, right? It's not a bad look there.
So the zone I'm watching is basically pre-market lows. That's my stop there. I'm shooting for the first swing pre-market highs at 551.44 on SPY. Keeping an eye on that. I'm watching Bitcoin to do basically the same thing, and to me it still looks constructive. Definitely going to keep an eye on it into that 550 level, but I think that we're flagging under it here. So I grabbed a tiny little bit of Bitcoin too, and then I will be watching pretty closely for those pre-market lows to hold, but I think I might be a little early on Bitcoin. It seems like it's lagging a little bit today, but SPY's working.
Seeing Clean Spark get the hit there. Mara pulled back off the attempted rip there. 14s trying to hold, but we'll see if that can make the move there on Mara back up towards the 14s. So you're getting a pullback opportunity.
Miners. Yeah, I'm in a BTDR, BitDeer. That's a fun one. That's a swing, so I'm not worried too much. Here's the volume on SPY. All right, we've got the little flag break going on.
Yeah, 550 mark, right? It's a big spot there. We'll see if we get back to the 548s. UPS rejecting there the move a little bit, hanging off of this 97. I'm looking at a potential return back to 99 here. We'll see what happens. Of course, it had pretty negative news with the layoffs, and then mentions of pretty much getting less demand from Amazon. Definitely held that 97 pretty well there. We'll see if it goes back to the 99. SPY, though, struggling here. That's where it's keeping me on the sideline. We'll see if it really takes off through this 550s here. We're right back to it. It went sideline on the VWAP, pulled back to that 549, holding well now. I'll be watching to see if we take out that 549.
Yeah, so that's a little head bonk on. Is that VWAP? Looks like it.
Yeah,
so
VWAP right there.
My VWAP is from pre-market, I believe. So it's back testing it right now. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Might be a little false break. We're a little early still, but I think that it's constructive and showing some incentive to move higher.
Yeah, held the VWAP right there for the VWAP throwback look. We'll see if it takes off there. SoFi still holding on 1440s. We'll look to see if that makes a run to 1470s. AU starting to crumble there a little bit there. I'm watching gold. Still no real move on that. Watching UPS start to pull back here. Thinking about maybe taking a shot here towards the upside here. Let's see what happens, especially with the market going the way it is here. It doesn't look too bad to see if maybe UPS can recover right back up here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic going on with UPS and FedEx. I guess UPS is less appealing because of the union factor, if I had to guess.
Yeah, definitely. Union factor. There's a lot of things going into there. It's a struggle. And when you're seeing alternative use, that's definitely a concern. Amazon making its way back, of course, of that overreaction on the downside. At first, just ripped to the upside. I'm sure some kind of money manager was like, I'll take that any day. And then just cashed into that. So let's see if it comes back to that layer, that 184 big watch here on this pullback.
I see Zim mentioned in the chat. Yeah, it's looking strong, breaking out here. Hopefully, it's got a really big level at 1480 to 15 that I'm keeping an eye on. You're one step ahead of me, Mitch. You're already looking at the other ones. So S-Bulk there, that's always a nice name to keep an eye on. My FRO, they're tankers, not container shipping like the two we just mentioned, but they're looking very strong. Shipping as a whole seems to be off to a good start. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, not bad at all. I think you can. It's an interesting space to trade. I will say that. It's a little bit weird when you trade these, but hey, I can't blame you, man. I mean, the idea makes sense a lot of the times. It's just you got to make sure you get into the right name. But shipping and port overall, look at this break. This is an equally weighted basis look about all those names. Yeah, that's a nice break out, right? And look at the daily. If you look at the daily, we're starting to really work our way back and starting to climb, right? So it's just starting, I think, this move. I think you wait to see maybe a little bit more of some excitement come to these areas, and then you can join them. But there's no reason why you can't have a watch list now.
Yeah, absolutely. As you kind of touched on, we're just kind of curling up on the daily, but on the weeklies, they're actually giant cup and handles. I can show you what I'm talking about in a minute once we cool down this action here. But yeah, it's good stuff for sure. I think that this could be considered a Mark Minervini patented low cheat entry onto a breakout. So That's why I'm in. That's why I'm in. So we got SPY pushing nicely there. I was actually considering adding on that little pullback into the 1 minute for value gap, but I was too distracted by my beautiful boats. I love the sector. It's a fun one. So, but that's okay. I got a nice foothold. 2 tranches in here.
SoFi pushing now towards 1445. That was a good buy in the pre-market. I should have maybe held on to a piece of that. I had that a little earlier. So we'll see if SoFi X can continue to move to 1355s. How's Tesla doing today? Tesla pulling back to the 281. And now we'll see if it gets back there to 287s. Will it just be on the pullback until we get the news? That's another thing that could happen. So it's tough, right? You think there's good news going to be coming out, and then some traders try to jump the boat and load up on Tesla today. Well, that's going to be a tough take on that first pullback.
All right, we are testing the 200-minute moving average on SPY here. I would expect to see a little bit of selling come in, maybe flagging here, but so far looking pretty darn good. Oh, wow, look at gold just falling apart. Wonder if I missed my short there.
There it is. There's the AU. Now the AU is coming down fast there. It was a fast one, though. I will say that. I think we got to look to see if we get a little bit of a bounce there. But I'll probably go after it with AU or Dust.
Yeah.
And Dust doesn't look too bad there as it just broke 30. So maybe pullbacks on that back towards 29.75, making sense there on Dust.
I like it. I like it.
There's the UPS trying to come back through the 97. It just broke that 97 there. I'm liking it, but I want it back at 97 exactly here. Let's see if I can get a small dip here, then I'm push back on UPS. Don't mind Dust and UPS here, essentially. See if we can get a little pullback here towards the 96.90s and then the lift off. UPS not looking too bad on this pullback.
Yeah, I think gold might be on the edge of a pretty big breakdown, so I'm keeping a close eye on that. I want to get in some of that. I'll be with you in the dust there.
The dust.
The dust.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go for a little starter here, and then I'm going to go and try to add on a pullback here. So starter here, and then adds at the 29.88 if we get a pullback. If it just rips, let it rip. Let it rip. So you guys will see the position right here, long on the dust, 200 shares, 30.15 there, and looking to see if it starts to make the move here. Looking for a quick little rip out here, and then if anything, I can also sell the rip and then look for it to dip back and then try to use some of that cash to keep pushing here. This 1320 is looking good here as it starts to push here.
Yeah, I got my foothold. It's starting to work. Feeling good.
Yeah, so I'm looking to add on the 90 MA pullbacks, but for right now, I'll ride the trend. Let's see what happens. UPS. Doesn't look bad either. Back down to that 97s here. Kind of holding in. Doesn't look bad at all. I just like it because the move back is about a $2 move. So you got to always think risk to return, right? It's probably about like 25 cents here to 60 cents to get $2. So not a bad risk to return. We'll see what happens there on UPS. I don't like the company, but hey, charts are telling me something else. We'll see what happens there. Let's go to the SPY overall. SPY now 551, still holding really well there. So we'll look to see if that can continue to push.
Absolutely.
Apple up, Microsoft up, Nvidia up 1.2%. So you're wondering, remember, we talked about technology being the area that was struggling, right? Being the area that wasn't making the move. Well, it's having a nice move today and continuing to watch that, but it's up about 0.4. It went into the red for a slight second there and then went back to the lead. So looking to see that. And what's getting the move? Consumer electronics. Apple, of course, big leader there. And then you're getting other smaller companies to show up there, but definitely Apple with a good move.
You got SPY acting right. Every red candle is just wicking up aggressively. So I'm feeling good there. I'm gonna take a little bit of SPY off at 551.50, which will be just about that swing low or swing high pre-market. I would assume we sweep that even if we go down. So That'll be my get out place. I have a stop under the 550, basically that red candle before 550. So that's my risk. I will be I'll be green either way. So just booking in an early win here.
Can't blame you. Can't blame you. Take that cash.
Yeah, and gold is just ugly. I like that.
Yeah, GLD just dropping fast there. Dust could push another move here. I might go for the scalp here and then just try to take what I can get on the scalp and then look for pullbacks. Let's go for it here. Just added there. You guys saw it. Let's try to take a little scalp here on the push. Just looking for a little push here into like maybe the 30, 40s. See if we can get a little push there, and then I'll sell into that push.
All right, I hit my trim there on that wick up, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. I think we still keep going, but yeah, it looks very strong to me.
Yeah, it's pretty strong here. I'm willing to add on pullbacks, so I'm just looking for pullbacks to add and trying to scalp on some easy cash.
Absolutely.
SoFi is also interesting there. If the market does turn around, I think this would be one that could pull back a good amount, maybe back towards the 1380s, but did break away from that 1450s. How's Palantir today? Up there to 114.55, kind of holding in there. We'll see if the market comes back down, but looking really well out the gates here. How's HIMS? Ooh, on the downside here. We'll see if it starts to hold this pullback. Definitely could be pulling back there on the hourly. Maybe a washout at a 35 is needed.
Yeah, that 40, it's going to have some trouble digesting that, I think. So I'm watching this wick candle here. I'd like to see it flag and hold here and not just kind of dump it off. I might raise a little bit of my stop up. Keeping an eye on it. Bitcoin seems to be basing here. I like that. So if Bitcoin catches up, we could see a little bit more of a broader move and risk on stuff. Also, I'm long ZS from yesterday, so that's a big one for me. I think that cybersecurity is going to keep doing well. A lot of these, like you mentioned, pre-market, the lack of tariff names, I think, have a lot of juice.
Momentum name Roku, not looking too bad there. So just like the setup, it's the same one that's showing up on Unity's. It's just growth names overall. So nice little setup here for it to make the rip. Right, you can see how the daily chart starts to approach when it's growth names. It's the name that likes to run. So that's why I'm watching it here. See if it collects 70. Could take out the 71 on the left. It doesn't look too bad right now. Dust starting to get the move here. I'm probably going to sell into this move, guys, and just take the kind of the scalp, or just put break even on it and let it run here. But let's see where we get to on the run. There's 32. Can it get towards the 30, 40s here? Make a little bit more push here, and then I'll just sell it out into that push. At this point, I won't lose on it. I'm just looking for the push to give me the cash here. Let's see if it can give me that cash. Pull back. I'll just look to go ahead and get out, get back in at a cheaper price. SoFi starting to drop to that 14.11. A lot of names starting to drop a little bit there. Even UPS not looking as good as it was. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think we might need to take some time to kind of digest here. We got the sweep over that pre-market high, and clearly there were sellers there. I think we're still okay, but let's see. Did I stop out? Nope. Still holding my core position there.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm still in dust right now. It's like right off of my entry here. I'm trying to give it a second here, guys, because I think it's just holding this support right now. Let's see if it does do a little pullback. But right now, it doesn't look bad. I mean, GLD is just dropped and come back a little bit here. We'll see what happens. I'm looking at the 1 minute on GLD here.
Do you happen to know if there's a 2x Bitcoin ETF?
I think there's one that's in the works. I don't think there's one that's right now in play 2x.
I'm going to take a look. Thought there was. Maybe I'm wrong. BitX, that's what it is.
BitX. There you go.
BITX. I'm going to pick up some of that too.
There you go. You can see a lot of bottoming on it, at least. I'll tell you that much. The 15-minute chart has a huge, like, kind of bottoming potential there off the 45s. I think is a lot of probably kind of undercutting there, trying to hit some triggers on the stops, and then we'll see if it gets back through 45. That'll be my kind of buy signal on that if it can get back through the 45.
Absolutely. Looks like it's going for it right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all, man. We'll see if it takes that 45 back up there.
I took my shot, so we'll see how it goes. I was seeing the same thing you were, the basing on the 15-minute there.
Yeah.
And I have a hourly trigger that's at well, it's on iBit. It's at 53.81. I can check on BitX.
We'll see if Tesla comes right back down or right back to the top end, right? I mean, today's a day where the news could be announced. So this is a tough trade today. Be careful. It's going to move all around. Trust me, I want to come in here and just short it just based on the chart, but I'm not going to do it. I know the news could be coming anytime soon.
Yeah, so I think we're still seeing flagging action on SPY, but I won't lie, it is posting top wicks. So keeping an eye on that, keeping a relatively tight leash. I think I probably just got stopped out on a third there. Yeah, barely. That'll probably get it, that candle. So we have 5 minutes
dropping fast.
flip. I'm okay with seeing a pullback into this 5 minutes as long as it kind of holds 550, let's call it. Seems acceptable. Gold coming back a little bit.
I take a short on Palantir here. Problem is the sizing. Tough trade on the sizing aspect. It's about 80 cents to the resistance here.
Oh yeah. See, there's also PLTD, which is just 1x. Might get you a better spread. I'm not sure.
Doesn't look bad. I just see these rejections, 3 or 4 rejections, 3 rejections to get towards that 48. I'd like to see it one more time towards the 47.50s and then fails. So that's what I'm going to look for, guys. Instead of jumping too quickly, I see what, 1, 2, 3 attempts to the highs. I always talk about the 4th being that fail. I need one more attempt here towards the 47.69 and then failing. Then I can get on it.
Bitcoin looks good to me. It's still pushing higher. We got the nice candle up here. I think this is what I was looking for.
Is that Roku?
I'm always a little bit. Oh,
That's
wow.
a pretty chart.
Yeah,
it's a pretty chart, man.
Getting tight.
It's a pretty chart. See if the SPY comes up here and continues to ride high, right? That's why I like the Roku trade here. Take it. I'm not going to hesitate anymore on it.
All right, good pushes, good pushes. So I'm gonna, let's see, I still have 3/4 of my SPY position, so I'm gonna put 1/4 on just a bit under that last wick, and just locking in more gains is all.
Trying to give the SPY a second here to see if it breaks the high, and I can jump on Roku. Still 5 down, like 1390. It's just a nice setup there, guys. Want to keep my eye on Dust, right? Of course, Dust is at 30.16, but it keeps holding the 9 EMA here, so that's what I'm watching for to see if it can hold it, recover.
Yeah, there might be some push and pull. It might like kind of get pulled up by the, because it's a minor ETF, so you know it might get kind of pulled up by the market as they're like, oh, the mining companies, they're more appealing, and then it's like, okay, but maybe that leads to de-risking in the underlying. So that's a lot of back and forth in that regard, I'd figure.
Yeah, I'm trying to just say, look at the 9 EMA.
Yeah.
Don't even try to guess it right there. See if it can hold momentum move, right?
Momentum.
All right, SPY. What are we gonna do on the SPY here? I think that's what matters. That's why I'm not long on Roku just yet. I want to see if the SPY can make another little push here. It just tested that 9 EMA and then held it. You see Roku come quickly towards the 64. This is where we would do a stop entry. Remember when we talk about sometimes putting your entries in where the stop area would be? This would be that entry for Roku, right? Because then now you can essentially risk below the lows of at least the recent lows on this chart, right? You can risk into the area underneath it versus risking into price action that it's touched before, right? That helps you. Especially. So we'll see what happens here if the SPY wants to make the move, and that's why I'm being patient on the SPY. SPY's fading a little bit there.
A little bit. Yeah, we have the hourly flip in 1 minute
I wonder, just Steve, if we're gonna get potentially maybe a market down day, and would that actually cause gold to come back up? Because it was a little bit of some mixed signals yesterday. So I'm wondering how gold will react with the market down at move.
No, it's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, it's very possible. I will say that much. But I'm placing my bets. I've got my stops in, and we'll see where the chips may fall, brother. That's all we can do.
UPS failing another move down there, so this one could be breaking down there, and that could hurt the XLI's chance of continuing to move higher. So I'm watching for that. XLI is doing well today. Industrials are up, but we'll see what happens here.
Oh, there's a red candle and green. Woof. Okay, well, that definitely got some of my stops.
News coming in, guys. That's the news. That's the economic data coming in here. I'll grab it for you guys. Just give me 2 seconds here, guys, as I pull it up from Benzinga Pro. We're supposed to get some data here. Consumer confidence in at 86 versus 87.7, so a little lower on the consumer confidence. But I'm looking for another number that's important here. It's a jobs number that's coming in there. Let's see what's coming in. Let me see if I can get it here.
Bitcoin did not like that.
Yeah, there might be like talked about yesterday. Are we going to see a little bit of a attempt to take any news towards the downside? And I think we could be seeing that right now. Trying to get the number here. Still one more number that I'm not seeing put up here. There it is.
Okay.
It took a little while. I'll hit Benzinga later. Jolt's job openings for March, 7.19 versus a 7.49. So lower Jolt's jobs opening. That is not a good sign for the market, and that's why you're seeing the market react to the downside. What does that show? Lower job openings, a tighter labor market.
That being said, it seems like we're stabilizing. I'm not ready to flip bearish quite yet, but maybe that is the sign. We'll see. I'm going to watch the low of that candle, but so far I am seeing buyers kind of step in, especially on Bitcoin off that hourly trigger.
I'm trying to see dust hold this 30 because this is like that level where I can add or just get rid of it here. So we'll see if it can hold that, make the move back up there. But the SPY is holding on for a thread here. We'll see if it can continue to push. It went really quickly on that undercut of 550. Look how fast it's coming back up here. It's a big watch here, guys.
Dust for an ad as well, actually.
I at least have a nice $50 cushion that I got in the pre-market trading. So I'm willing to try to push a little bit in the dust. We'll see what happens. GLD is going to be a big watch on that. If it can break the low, I think we'll be all right here. It's rejecting VWAP. It's a VWAP rejection on GLD here. So not looking too bad. SoFi down there to 1380s. It did do that nice little pullback on that end. Looking around out there, guys. White House blasts Amazon.
All right, I just got filled on a little bit more dust. I'm still keeping a small position there, but I'm sticking with the thesis. Seems like we got through the shake and bake.
The shake and bake them. First you shake them, then you bake them.
Yes, sir.
SMR is starting to work back there. I'm going to be watching those names, of course. Nuclear reactors are on my watch. We'll see what happens.
Like you said, those leading sectors, those leading Momo names, absolutely. Okla is another one. GV, exactly. You're on it. You're on it.
You know it, my friend. And I gave him the good old tip on Trader TV. I was like, they always laugh because I always give them the one more thing. One more thing. Don't forget about this little added nugget I include in the end. I said, watch for these because they have had a pullback. GEV's good earnings, right? And then we looked at NNE, good earnings. SMR, good reaction off of the first action from these other stocks. I talked about the inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's been hanging in here. We'll see if it gets a ride up today. SPY still hanging in there, guys. That's why I didn't want to. That's why I didn't want to mess with Palantir on that. I remember I talked about it. Would we reject one more time rule of three, right? 1, 2, 3 highs. When we get into that area, are we going to reject? No, we actually broke through it and held it. Now you could look for a throwback look, right? So you went through the trend line right here. Now you got to look to see if it can hold that on the pullback. As long as it can hold that on the pullback, let's say 1450s, you're still looking good on Palantir. This could actually start to push now. This could help another name start to get the lift now. HIMS now can maybe get a little lift as you're seeing Palantir push and you're seeing SoFi get back to the highs, right? That's what you want to see. Momentum names. Remember, Roku, talked about it. Momentum, ARKK. We'll see what happens. This is a good day for ARKK. There's dust starting to push back 30-11s now. So let's see if we can get a nice 30 fill here on a pullback.
Yeah, you were more patient than I, so you will probably be rewarded. I see gold rolling though, so I'm fine hanging out here.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a 30 pullback, not making it too, not trying to jump in the middle of the action. Jump, add off the support, because if we could pull back and hit that. But look at the ARKK, the growth signal. Growth signal is on, team. Throw the Batman sign out there. Throw it up there, because I'm seeing it working out there. Growth is on. That means Roku. Roku is my buy here, guys. I want to go get it. Let's go get it. And this just tells you I hate Roku. But, guys, it's not about sometimes about what you hate or what you don't like or things like that. You got to catch the themes. Today, it seems like it's risk on, ARKK names. Let's take a look at the top of that. See what's making a move here. Top of that list, you got Meta pushing up higher. Of course, earnings coming tonight, baby. Look at that Meta push. That's going to help the market push higher, guys. Tesla now into the green, pushing higher. Of course, news could be coming any moment. So now we're starting to really get that momentum type of move. And what's another momentum name that I talk about all the time with technology? You guys hear me talk about this? It's AMD, of course. Look at AMD go.
Ooh, look at SPY. Ooh.
Yeah.
There's the lift off, baby.
A big part of that, Steve, you're getting big tech to join the party here. Big tech is joining the party. Apple, look at Apple pushing. Meta pushing. Microsoft pushing. Even Amazon, they got hit by the White House. The White House told it down, and it's still going back up. Guys, you're seeing something here. Growth move is put on here. That's why I went long on Roku. Let's see if that can really kind of get me that nice return there. Dust could be getting that nice breakdown and continuing higher as gold continues to break down. I'm still riding that move. And now looking to see where the momentum's going. So now you start to take a look at what's leading, and it's going to be some best of breed names. Look at the SPY's takeoff there, looking really good on your kind of earlier 550. Look for 550 recoveries, 550 recoveries. Good mention, Steve. Hey, and a good day overall, guys. Big push there, and not looking bad at all. I think this is exactly what you need to be seeing. And we've been calling it right here. Now things are starting to really push, guys. This is the time to start looking. Even for those smaller names, I'm seeing LFMD is being one of those smaller names, having a good day today. That's starting to push back. We'll see if that can get back there towards 8.
Yeah, I'm really happy with my read this morning. I think and it definitely helped, informed by your color there for no doubt. But the one thing I would have done a little differently is, so we were trending up. We kind of, in my eyes, set the trend off of like support in the mornings. We were trending up out of the gate, and then into that first half hour or hourly flip, at for me 7 o'clock, so 10 o'clock market time. Whenever you see it surging into that and then pulling back the first like 5 minutes before that, I always think, they want to continue the trend, but they're just getting a little foothold here on whatever data is going to come out. It's going to be a little shaky. They're going to get their fills and then they'll rip it. So that's kind of what I was thinking, at least. And if I was a little bit braver, I could have said, hey, we held the opening base that we were, flagging in the first 5-10 minutes. And then, as long as that held, that would have been a good spot to add. So I wish I pressed it a little bit, but hey, we'll take mostly right decisions on any trading day.
No, that's what you got to do, man. And here you guys see it. Unity was a name that I mentioned earlier. It's just a momentum name. It's a growth name, right? It's moving with that nice little break of that trend line there. We'll see if it can continue to going on. I mean, you guys in the chat, what are some growth names that you guys like, right? And I'm pretty sure we'll look at them. They're probably doing pretty well today, guys. So take a look at that, guys. Hims trying to get through the VWAP now. Okay, we'll take a look at that one. That one had a couple of rejections into that. So a 37 recovery could be a big move for that one. And I talked about it might have needed a cut down through the 35. It did do that cut down and then started to come back here. Just recently cut down through that 35, made that sideways pattern down here around the 34.60s. So that gave it the ability to go far down enough. Now I need to see the 9 EMA hold.
And all of my stops are getting moved up into profit. Most of them under that big green candle, and the rest under the low of that swing. Just protecting gains. Just in case market wants to do something screwy. I saw it not quite break pre-market highs on SPY. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I'd like to see the clean sweep. If you are not long and you're looking to get long, you think we go higher, you can look for a hold of that 551-ish area, the kind of base that we broke out of before. So that is very valid. Bitcoin looking very resilient here. It's holding up well, and it's just kind of trying to flag out over high a day. So just a little bit lagging behind SPY, which I think is pretty natural here. I think probably the mega caps all pushed pretty well off of that, I would assume. Let me look.
Yeah, my level now is 551.69. That's a throwback look off the trend line. We'll look to see if we even come back to the 9 EMA. I think we're expanding away. Let's see if we keep pushing here. Roku testing me a little bit here. Could cut down a little bit here. It might cut out and then get back in it here just for a little small pullback here. It might just try to shake us before they really take it off. Let's see what happens here.
I'm going to watch the last swing high as well on SPY before this one. See if that one gets some volume or get some buyers to step in there. Right now, the 9-minute EMA is trying to hold. I think it probably gets undercut here.
SPY doing well here, guys. If I look at what's leading the market, I can see, of course, technology kind of taking the lead there. Let's see if these big boys can continue lifting the boat today. And you're seeing Apple push to 1170s. I think one of the early deals that we're going to get is going to come out of India. I talked about this yesterday. I'm still waiting to hear more news. But when Apple starts to make mentions of manufacturing going to India, I think they had insights from the White House to push for this, right? And so the White House needs to do one thing right now, and it needs to do what? It needs to find the partners that are going to be the next move if they really want to diversify away from China. So what do they need to do? They need to make some deals that are going to benefit other countries more than China. So I think that you continue to watch to see what happens there. And I think India could be one of those names that could be getting the mention. Quick pullback on the SPY, but it's just straight red candles here. We'll see if we actually do drop here. It's been pulling back there. Now I'm getting the hurt there on Roku a little bit there. Got to be a little bit careful on that one. Don't want to push too much on Roku. This has to be a momentum breakout here, and it has to continue. If not, it could break down here.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it. I want to see it. Yeah, I see a few buyers stepping in off the previous swing high. I want to see that continue.
Still risk about $60 on this trade. We'll see if we give it a little bit more room here. We can get that recovery back here. I think it's going to be more on the SPY to see if we get another move to the upside.
Yeah, this is where I'd like to see buyers start stepping in. You can see them trying. We'll see if they can actually stick the move here. That's looking a little bit better. I'm watching that 9-minute EMA right now for a reclaim. Yeah, and I should probably be switching to 5-minute charts here in a second.
Probably going to get an ad on Dust at the 30s. I don't mind it there. I've just been leaving it there.
Yeah, that's a good spot for it. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful wick up there. Beautiful wick up. So for me, that's a catch on Qs. They're looking very strong, pushing very strongly there. I think that we're going to flag and push higher, but let's see the show me the money, as as they would say.
I'm moving up a little bit, trying to add on dust to 30.03s, just trying to get the fill on the bid here. I have a feeling it's going to go fast if it gets back to 30.20.
Yeah, I'll join you there. I need a little more on my plate.
Microsoft trying to break the high. I'm watching that with Apple here. You see Apple on the chart. I'm looking to the left, another big boy. I'm just watching the big boys run. They're holding the tape. They're holding the action up. So watching Meta here, as Meta is also pushing, right? Tesla, a part of that, right? You just got to watch the big boys continue to ride the momentum. When the big boys go, a lot of the times the market starts to follow. And so a lot of the times we don't focus on technology in a kind of market-wide move. But at this point, we've been seeing technology lag. Now what's being talked about, and I know that the big money is probably talking about this, will we get the big tech move, right? Because if big tech starts to make a drive up, if these earnings don't destroy big tech, well, the SPY can just continue climbing higher and be right back to where we were. Big watch on Meta on this pullback. You can see it, guys. It's trying to make the move there. We'll see if it kind of can hold on here.
Not a bad look. Not a bad look. Microsoft trying to base.
Yeah. A lot of action just continuing to grind on 9 EMAs, right? So then that light blue line, you can see it. All right, let's see if Roku can start coming back here, start to make that move. Dust, no fills on those 303s. So now I pulled it back to the 30s. I could jump up to the 3010s there, but there's no point. If I get the fill on the pullback, I get the fill. If I get a breakout above 3030s, I can also add on breakout. Just trying to add there on the pullback, but also not trying to sit there. I was sitting there on the bid there for a while. No fill. That's usually a good sign, though.
Ooh, SPY. All right, it's coming back and testing that 551 handle.
Yeah, and we're getting that test. We're getting that test, right? We're getting that approach here to try to hold. I think the 15-minute 9 EMA is going to be important. That's 50, 50, 60s. And the VWAP is right below that. So let's just continue to grind. Let's see if we get this quick little pullback and recovery here. But definitely now starting to grind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, Dust.
I know, still no fills. I'm sitting here like, come on. Come on.
All right, Roku getting a little bit tight here. I'm going to watch Roku.
Oh, look at that on SPY. That's a shake and bake. Woo. Where are we going? Where are we going?
That was a wiki there. There was a wick there on even Microsoft. Big wick there to the upside. Let's see if it can continue. Or was that just a blow off top there? I don't know. Maybe it's news on that. I'll look.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty violent.
Yeah, something hit the tape there. Some algo jumped.
Yeah. Somebody maybe got caught off sides. I guess we'll see. We'll see who it is.
Wholesale is down. FHA home price down. Jolts jobs down.
Seven seconds left in this candle.
Looks like Amazon's backing out of the conversation, saying that they were only going to do this on the Amazon Hall store. Of course, that's that Temu style of store. That this was never going to go on the main site. Never.
Yeah. Now that they got clapped, got their hands slapped a little bit.
Yeah.
I was just kidding.
JK.
So 9 EMA is acting as resistance right here. I want to see it cook and flip. Dust
is starting to move, man. So at this point, I mean, I'm not mad. Don't come back and fill me.
Yeah. I'd rather make a little money than lose a little money, you know?
Yeah. We'll take the little one. And I think the big part of this is also determining on the market itself, right? That's why I was a little concerned. I was like, could the market go down and Dust also go like up here? I mean, that would be interesting. But
yeah, it's a tough dynamic, you know. What I'm banking on it kind of inversing Bitcoin, but then again, my Bitcoin's stalling, so maybe it's just separate plays.
This
on
is the up
Bitcoin.
3. This is a lot of times where I can sometimes buy a little bit too early in what I think is going to be a breakout, right?
Yeah.
Resistance test 3. And so what I tell myself on resistance test 3 is a lot of time is look for support test 3. Because if you do that, then you'll actually look for that down move to see if it breaks that support, right? And so I think a lot of times this is what I think a lot of traders can do on mistakes. They're just getting too antsy too quickly. They see that approach to this 30, 15, and then they buy, right? And then so then the next thing you know, any pullback, and you're really starting to put pressure on your orders. So I look for a lot of times for that pullback to come into this space, and that would be right where I'm looking to dip buy, and then the move going to 30-15. If it fails to 30-15 again, and I know that it's not going to probably get that move. And that's just my rule of 3. Of course, we all know how Steve feels also about the 3s, and I don't know what it is, man. The 3s are good, 4 is bad, man. It's just the way things work.
Well, 4, it can be like for me, 4 is like very binary. Like either it works amazingly, it's like it was really cooking, or it's like the last gasp and it's like, all right, time to give up. But yeah, I think 3 is the rule for sure.
There's a gap. That's what I want to see. So you see how the price action and the light blue and the spread is actually gapping up higher. So it's like, who wants to take it? It's handing out the gift here. Who wants to take it?
Someone took it.
Someone took it. Exactly. Exactly what that bar means. Someone said, I'll take it. I'll take it up here.
I'll jump the spread. We're going higher.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see if Roku could start to make the move here. I'm starting to get tighter and tighter. What do you see here? 1, 2, 3, and just right now, the 4. No break the 4. No bueno if it breaks the 4. We'll see what happens here on Roku. Another one that's coming back that's interesting, just in case we continue to lift off here, is UPS. UPS is also trying to make its way back to that 97.
Did get stopped out of another chunk of my my SPY there, but we'll see if it holds the spacing area. I can always add back in if so. But
all right, guys, setting the risk here at 68.98 for Roku. I just want to set it so I don't have to watch it because I want to watch dust. That is the position where I feel like I at least am timing right. The pattern looks perfect. Things are going the way they should go, and now it's just more, will the market do the heavy lifting? With the SPY coming down is the interesting aspect of the dust continuing to the upside, but we'll see what happens here, guys. SPY is starting to break that hold, and now you're starting to see the VXX start to jump. So with that being said, I might go for the VXX here and just try to scalp a little bit here on the push, but we'll see what happens here. I think that you could get some pullback. Of course, the market's been really looking positive as of late. We'll have to wait to see if we get some news, but right now we're getting a little bit of some pullback here. Looking at the big boys, how did those break, right? The Apple's still not at VWAP. Looking at Microsoft, still not at VWAP. So as long as they can hang out above VWAP, it's not looking bad, but Tesla came back pretty fast. Look at the wide range that Tesla's giving you now. 289 to 281. That's tough, man. That's tough to trade.
Decent buyers off of 550 on SPY. That's definitely the level of interest there for me.
Yeah.
It's also the 200 moving average on the 5-minute chart today. So keeping an eye there. Look at GDX lagging gold. I love to see that. And by that, I mean our miners are underperforming gold. So we picked the correct way to short it.
GLD still hanging out at the VWAP. I think that's the big watch for us. Can that get right back down towards the 304s, right? So we'll see what happens here. This is that VWAP type of fake outlook. So I think you got to watch here for a trend line approach off of this peak, right? So you see that trend, you see this little wick here. So I just draw it out where I think it's going to go to, and then I'm going to look to see if it gets there and rejects there. So that would be a spike to 35.25 and a quick rejection back down. We'll see if we get that. Dust now into the green for me here, and now I have the decision to make. I could either go towards a tighter risk, tighten down, and look for the breakout, or I can just kind of just let it keep working from where I'm at here, or add on the 30-30 break. We'll see what happens on the overall market. I think that's what I'm really focusing on here. See what happens here. 550 is trying to hold up. The wall is there. Did they break the wall? How did the Pfizer do today? A little bounce back. Not too bad. What's up, man? How we doing out there, Connor?
Howdy, howdy. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys all out there. What are you guys trading? What are you guys liking? I know that there's a lot of smaller names being mentioned out there. But if you guys got a name you guys want to trade or want to talk about, maybe a stock you guys want us to take a look at, let me know. Come on, good old Roku. So Roku has all those bottomings, right? Now I can add to this. If I was in the green with dust, I'd probably take the ad. I'm not in the red for the day, but I don't want to push too much until I get that nice little trade to get me into the green, right?
Yeah.
I'm just have a cushion trade. I got like $50 in the green, to be exact, 45.25. So let's see if we can get this to really push. You guys are seeing it right on the screen. I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can really see the net P&L. So you guys should be able to keep up with all that.
So it is fighting for this 550 here. It is under it. It is under it. I have a level at 49.50. That's my hourly trigger. That's kind of, if we close any candles under that, then I'm out of my runners. But I want to give it a little bit of room just because I have a bias. We have a lot of day left to trade. We're trading back into a key level. So kind of split look on that. I'd probably be more risk averse if I wasn't trimming on the way up there. So it felt good.
Yeah, it just seems like the Bulls might be caught here with their hands out. It might be a good time to go towards that graphic that I wanted to go towards. So let me pull up my Mark Minervini here to bring in the bear talk. Ooh, seeing that downside coming in there a little bit there.
I'm seeing buyers every time it dips under the 550 handle here. So I want to see a candle close above it to kind of try to lock in some sellers here.
Yeah, I might get cut out of Roku here, guys, but I'm going to stick to the original risk there, which was about $60 on the trade. We'll see if we get hit here through the 69s. It could get, there it is. It's out. It went fast there, guys. SPY dropped there to the 549.78. So we'll see if it breaks through that low there. Dust pulled back on that too, so I'm watching that here. It's a throwback look towards 3010 here. So starting to see some leaking in the market here. BXX starting to jump a little bit here, so might be able to take a scalp if I want to kind of hedge a little bit there. But just got to keep an eye out here. See if we start to see a complete flip. Remember, I've talked about how the flips have come later in the market a lot, guys. We've been seeing a lot of flips around 10:30 towards 11. So we'll see what happens here if we get a continued push off this move. It started to make the move around 10:10. So just something to think about.
All right, heavy. We're testing my hourly trigger here now, so I want to see this hold if we're going to be trending up. Otherwise, not the best look. Kind of a delayed reaction to that that 10 o'clock news, perhaps. Okay.
Oh, you know it.
Hold to the penny there, so keeping an eye on there. This kind of zone.
Oh yeah, Roku came back. It might have got me down there. Got me really close to the low, so we'll see if it starts to come back there.
Still heavy.
Yeah, I'm just sticking with the dust right now. Dust pulling back there, guys. Just got the fill back on the pullback.
Oh, then I guess I did too. Nice.
Are we going to start to see a little decline here? We'll see what happens. SPY is pulling back, has been pulling back there since pretty much after that 10 o'clock rip here. So starting to see some trades lose altitude. AMD losing altitude. Apple back down almost to the VWAP. Microsoft almost to the VWAP. Meta back below the VWAP here. So definitely seeing that move. Tesla breaking the low there, giving you more of that range approach. So just be careful out there. GM, a lot of volume coming in it right now. I'm continuing to watch to see news that could potentially come out of GM lot of volume there, man. 322,000. What do they know that I don't know? Because that's a pretty good amount of volume there for GM.
Ooh, dropping hard there on GM.
Yeah, dropping hard all around. A lot of volume coming in on GM, guys. Another 228,000 shares there. Somebody knows something right now, guys. So I'm looking around to find it, guys. This is when I tell you guys, when you see certain things, certain action, yeah, you're like, yo, who knows? Come call me, because somebody knows something when you see this type of jump of volume, right? So look at the difference, right? So
wow, yeah.
And it's not on a spot where you normally would buy, right? On a breakdown of support, it's a huge amount of volume there waiting. Somebody knows something here. We'll find out.
I am seeing some buyers step back in under 550 here. So I added back half of the exposure I took off on the move from high to low there. Just a nibble. I just want to keep the trade idea going. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have half stop under the last swing low, half the stop under the previous swing low at 548.95 on SPY. That's what I'm working with here, but it looks like we are getting a little bit of buy pressure here back when we dipped under 550. This is where I'd like to see it hold if we're right. If so, it could be a really nice place to add into that dust, but I mean, gold is decently strong off of that. It hasn't broken high a day yet, so keep an eye on it. I'd like to see it fade here as market catches.
Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens here. I got to hang tight there. I think that we could still approach 29.90 and then the recovery of 30. So I'm just waiting here a little bit to try to see if I can get through a 29.90 test and then to see it come back through 30s here. I'm in at 30.16 on dust. Roku setup still there, guys. If the market wants to come back, we'll see what happens. I mean, just got to keep an eye out, guys. A lot of action coming in and out. Income tax relief on the upcoming tax bill. Oh, good Lord. They don't know what to talk about anymore.
See what sticks. See what sticks. Bitcoin's still just basing all day long. We will see what it does, but it's got a tight range going on. I am biased to the upside just because the daily chart looks really constructive. It's been flagging for about 4 or 5 days now. So I'd like to see it get cooking, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
All right. Sorry about that. If you guys hear some background noise, the boys ain't happy.
Oh, no.
They're not happy with this market, man. They're not happy with all that back and forth. They said tariffs on my toys? No.
Unacceptable. Got to draw the line somewhere.
I love Hasbro.
Yeah, how's it doing? It doesn't look so bad. Maybe I love Hasbro too.
And Mattel. Those stocks get affected by tariffs like no other, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, like I want to see their earnings outlook. That's going to be an interesting one because, like, we all know exactly all toys made in China. I get stunned when I get a toy and it's not says made in China in the back.
Yeah, right.
I laugh because I see these toys on Temu for the same price. I see them for the 50 cent to a $12 margin.
Oh yeah, that'll get you. Man, okay. I'm watching SPY backtest the 200-minute moving average here. It's basically stacked with VWAP, so
That's
for all intents and purposes, guys. One level.
That's looking good. I'm trying my best not to add too early here, but let's see if it can get going here. I have 600 shares, so I'm trying to add up.
Big boy. I'm up to 200 here.
Yeah, I'm trying to add up, but it has to be smart, right? Like I have to keep staying with it, right? You see the 15-minute chart, what I'm kind of looking at. I was just trying to give myself a little bit of room for a 2090 test, right? Something back into this low so that you see a lot of times I look to the left, not the right. Don't look at this action. Right here, you see this little bunch up at the 945. That was an important action, I think. So a lot of times, what was that? That was a little bit of a breakout attempt, trying to get back through the whole dollar, right? You'll scroll back. You're trying to get through the high. You're trying to get through the high. That little bunch up right here was very important. So I'm just trying to see if we can get back into that area and test down into that 2990s. Let's see if we
fair value gap action on that power stick that you were
Exactly.
marking there. Yeah.
It's a big spot, right? It's usually where the spot where the buyers went in trying to see the break of 30, right?
Mhm.
And
No
so a
doubt.
lot of times we'll go back and test that spot to do what? Put some pressure on those buyers. A lot of times I ask myself, who's the pressure getting put on, right?
Right, right.
Who's the pressure getting put on is a big question you should be asking. And a lot of times there's always going to be like a key level that breaks and then gets tested.
So that hourly trigger I mentioned at 59 or 549.50, that worked like a charm. That ad was really clean, so I'm happy with that. I will stop out if that reverses on me, but I want to give it some time to cook with Bitcoin turning up and gold a little heavier. It is still, the underlying is still decent. Miners look like they're underperforming, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with my hedge where it is.
I think if we get back above break even at this point, I'll be break even on dust. And then if it comes back down and like cuts me out, I can just reload towards the end of the day. Can't push it too much. Got to wait, and then take the big trade there, guys. We'll see what happens. Down about $20 due to the Roku loss, but that's why I built a little morning cushion here, and we'll see what happens here. The SPY can push right back, and I could jump right back into Roku. It's just more, can the SPY make the move? And I think that's more based on the big boys, Apple, right? Microsoft.
I'm really liking
those break the highs, right?
I'm really liking BitX here. I might add a little more in there. I think it's got a nice base cooking here. I'm gonna just nibble so I assuage the FOMO here.
It's not a bad look, man. It's not a bad look at all. Look at Apple getting the lift here, guys. Some deals could be announced today. There was some rumors out there, so I'm still watching out there to see what happens.
Mamma mia, that SPY stick. Oh, it feels so good to catch a bottom. Mamma mia.
That SPY looks good. SPY looks good here.
Connor Duffy, thank you so much. You watched the Bulkowski top pattern video last night. Super informative for someone who's new to charts and TA. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate you.
Love it.
Free to, check out the other ones too. We got some good stuff. We got some more good stuff coming this week, this Thursday. So yeah, absolutely.
Catch all the old videos, guys. There's some great webinars already out there, and we have a playlist that you guys can check right here on our YouTube. I'll make sure to try to grab a video or two before we get out of here. But hey, Steve's been killing it on these webinars, and I think you guys definitely need to check it out. Another thing is, take a look at the webinar and get a great question from it. Come over to the live stream and ask him about it. I think he's going to love that even more than you guys just watching it, showing that you guys are really taking the work and effort that he's putting in to give you guys some good knowledge.
Absolutely. I love questions. I will answer anything I can. And look at this expansion on SPY, man. All right, so the thesis is playing out. I gotta say, it'll confirm 100%, not 100%. It'll confirm a lot more if we can break the highs of the day, and then I will be nibbling some more profits up there because I've been adding on the way down because I had conviction, Mitch. I had conviction today.
I had to go back to it, guys. I'm back in Roku, and we'll see what happens with that. But I'll take a nice $30 bet on that. Unity starting to recover here. Let's see if ARKK can really push too. That could be a bet within itself, right? A little bit more of a ETF style bet on growth. What's another kind of growth ticker? There's a couple of growth ETFs that you can look at, but I think right now you start to look at it like I could bet against SARK, right? That's the against the ARK ETF, right? I think you're just seeing a lot of names in ARKK doing well today. We'll see if they can continue to move, zoom above the highs there. We'll see if some other ones can make a move. Look at Path. You see, like these are the growth names, right? They're doing well, guys. SPY now right back to the highs, playing games with us. Playing games with us.
Oh, it's hanging out. It's a little stretched on the 1 minute. That was a big old squeeze. So I'm keeping an eye. I got some take profits right around high day. I think we keep on grinding up here. Bitcoin is looking very promising. It wants to push out of the base. It hasn't broken its high of the day yet that SPY did 40 minutes ago. So it's got room. It's got room to cook, and I love that trade.
Yeah, I'm trying to ride the Roku action. Let's see if this can really start to climb. And I've seen Roku run before on momentum days. Another stock that I'd look at on the momentum day, AMD, man. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite one when I see momentum. Like if I see technology on the run, I look at this name. Even if the daily chart doesn't look good that day, I don't stress too much about that because I've seen AMD do these all the time. Whole dollar moves, and then it goes like $3 or $4 or $5 in a direction. That can definitely be a good trade underneath $100, right? So we'll see what happens out there. Dust still not getting that big push that I'm looking for here, but it's going for that 2990s look. And I think that I got to keep giving it the opportunity to get there and then look to see if it can get back through the highs there. I think the SPY going higher is not a bad thing. I think it could actually still help it. GLD is the big look here, and you can see GLD back there to 305.70s here. But let's see if it can get back to a red candle on the 15-minute.
Yeah, it's definitely underperforming, but it might just be a rising tides lifts all boats kind of thing, which is why I still have my longs on, just in case I'm completely wrong about gold, because it is a little bit wacky lately in the price action. So
yeah, what I like is you just try to keep it bigger chart, right? Look at the hourly, right? The hourly is to me is still showing a breakdown look. If anything, this looks like a head and shoulders pattern that just is waiting to break back down below 300. If I take a look at the AU pattern, right? I look at the recent action, I can see a lot of pullback action that could be breaking. Look at the dust. It looks a little bit even better, right? So I'm looking at trying to look for bullish setup here, and I look at the hourly, I can see multiple highs, right? Up 1, down 1, up 2, down 2, up 3, but we could still make this down 3 or down attempt and then the break higher. That's why I think it's so important to look for a breakout towards this 30-30, right? If we could get that breakout, it doesn't even need to come back down towards that low, but that's one thing that you got to keep in mind. You might need to get rid of it and then look to maybe rebuy it as it starts to break that 30 again. So we'll see if it can just hold this 30 like it's been doing, and then breaking that 30-30 is the real move.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm just putting some stops in on my BidX just in case. Everything seems good here. Just want to let it do its thing. Looks like dust is coming back for us. I'm flat on that again. And I'm up 150 on my SPY, or leverage SPY, up 40 now on Bitcoin. Good day, good day. Probably time to start nibbling profits.
Seeing a small name out here, Above Food Ingredients, doing well. UPS, back above the 97. Guys, this is an interesting look. UPS coming back today. Spotify, undercut. Starting to make the move off of that. I think you're starting to see some buyers maybe step up in that Spotify. It'd be an interesting chart to watch at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's an interesting look for sure. I think that you're on the money looking for those tariff resistant plays for sure.
Yeah, this one did that like slight undercut beneath the pre-market support a couple of times, and what do you see? You see kind of that slowing down of volume on the move back up. Those are the shorts I think caught here. They're just like, man, this just keeps stepping up. Yeah, let's see if this starts to push back. 570 close will tell me a lot by the end of the day. We'll see what happens there on this Spotify. Another one that seems like the monthly support holds well often. So you can see how the 90 EMA stayed below it on the monthlies, showing that the trend is higher. It's just more you got to look for pullbacks to try to jump on the trend.
Yeah.
SPY holding in there. It's kind of chopping a little bit here. 10:43, guys. We got about just a little bit under 15 minutes left here. Let's see if we can really get a run here before the move, but seems like we're staying within this 15-minute range right now. We just need to see the candle really push through the high.
Yeah, I hope that it can kind of flag out here a bit more. I was feeling better until this candle, so keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, I'm just watching like stocks like Apple and the bigger boys to see if they can continue to run. If they start to break down, that's the one area that could really scare away the buyers.
Yeah, no doubt.
VXX just sitting off the bottom there. We'll see. I don't expect to see a VX spike here, but it is still hanging out in the gap zone, right? I've drawn this gap for a while, looking for if we were going to make a bounce in that area. We still haven't made a bounce, right? I mean, this still is on the downtrend, trying to kind of come back. But at some point, we're going to get some volatility to get a little spike back. The question is when. Is it today? I think we got to keep watch the news flow. All right, let's go looking into the streets out there. What's going on?
Good morning, Eldon Rudy. Welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm watching my 5-minute trigger. I'm sorry, yeah, my 1-minute trigger. Yes, short-term trigger at 551.20. That is holding for now, and look at that bounce off of that. Nice, clean, clean, clean. I think we're just cooling off on the 1-minute chart. We were running a little hot. I want to see an engulfing candle to kind of confirm, and that might take a few more minutes, but I think we're trying to break into or hold into the upper half of this range so we can expand outward eventually. A few top wicks on Bitcoin, I will admit. So keeping my bias relatively open, but let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Got most of my sectors green, only energy and what is that? XLY, so consumer discretionary, are the only ones that are slightly red. Not a bad look. I want to see that continue to ratchet on up.
I always think it's funny when I'm like searching somebody, and even the bots get picked up by Google search.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, holy moly, the bots are out of control, man.
MXD, good to see you, buddy. Let me take a look at MU for you.
All right. Before we look at that really quickly, just wanted to show you guys this chart really quickly, just to bring the conversation up before we get out of here. This was the chart that Mark Minervini posted. One of his members kind of posted this, comparing 1998 to now. The charts look similar. I'm not going to lie. Charts do look similar. But a lot of times what happens, and there's this pattern that I think shows up on this chart that's interesting to watch for. It's the W pattern. The W pattern is a known long pattern, right? It's in the CMT books. I can tell you guys about it. But the W pattern is something that exists, right? So we got to look for that W pattern here to see if we get this opportunity where it was that real down point in 98, right? Then it came back here, started to work its way back there, and then it did that attempted towards the low, undercut and rally. Will we get that attempt here? That's the questions that you need to be asking yourself. This is why I talked about on Trader TV that what we're looking at is a V bottom right now, right? You got to look for attempts to the right-hand side trend line. If you can break that, you can go to the lows. If you can hold that, you can continue to climb the V-shaped rally. And so that's what I'll be watching for. Mark Minervini, taking a look at that. We'll see what happens if we still see some more downside action there. And we'll see if the 98 chart comes back into play. Coming back to you, my friend. We want to take a look at MU. You want to put your chart up?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I'm watching this little bloody nose on SPY after a really nice push. I got my stops under that last swing low now, and let me hop on over to my screen.
Yeah, let's do it.
Un momento. There we go. All right, I will keep SPY up, and let's pull up MU on a 15. I think I see what you're seeing here. So basically, we got the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. It's trying to break down. Let's draw a little support zone here. Change that to a more scary color. There we go, yellow, scary. So it did hold this low, pretty precise here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. This is the back test of the level where if it's going to catch, it needs to reclaim. It looks like a short here to me. Honestly, I'm going to take a few shares short just because I like it. It fits with my thesis. I think that hardware goes down, everything else goes up. So if we do fade, I would expect this stuff to get hit more. So I'm just going to take a super tiny nibble just because I believe in it, and it's a good hedge for me. I do think the market is still trending up, though. I think that we are looking pretty solid, and it could be a place for MU to catch. Just something to keep in mind. I would expect it to underperform, though. And one chart that I will show you guys really quickly is the IGV SMH ratio chart. So this is showing the strength of software versus hardware, the strength of software as a service versus versus semiconductors. And as you can see, we can zoom out all the way to the monthly here and hide that real quick. You can just see right off the demand zone here, it's breaking a channel. It flagged after breaking the channel. Now it's pushing up more. So I would expect the strength in software to continue over hardware. Doesn't mean they can't both go up or both go down, but I do expect if the market goes down, software as a service will get hit less than chips. If the market goes up, software as a service will go up more than chips. So that's my thesis, has been for a couple months now, and I'm sticking with it.
Can't blame you on that, man. Can't blame you at all. We'll see if this can keep pushing higher. I added there on Dust, guys. Now at 30.19, started to get a little lift there, looking for the push to see if it goes through the 30.30s, and then I'll be up big. Let's see if we can get it. Let's go. SPY still holding in there, man. We'll see if what that goes on. See if the SPY can go towards 553 and break that intraday high. It's just hanging out here at the top, though. That's one thing to note.
A little bit of bopping and chopping going on. So we were just running a little hot, and bear stepping in. I'd like to see bulls hold this red little staggered line here and just keep on guiding up. That's ideal. That's ideal. We can flip to some other time frames. Just a flag on the 5-minute. Big old base on the 15-minute. So it could dip back here and still resolve upward later in the day too. That's something to consider. I want to see what kind of top wick we post on a 5-minute. This isn't great.
What's been really fading since the opening action has been SoFi. That's down to 1350s. So you got the fade on that. Shout out to you. That was a pretty good fade. Trying to see Roku recover the 69, but it's right on the area where I want to kind of risk here. I don't want to risk the 60 again. Just trying to see it recover here. If it can hold and get back up there. The battle's on. It's the SPY here kind of pulling back a little bit.
Yeah, we got the wick up. Now it looks like we're going to try to put in a double wick, and we will see if that holds. Good, looking good so far. 40 seconds in the candle left, so plenty of room for them to mess with me. So we'll see. I do think we resolve at least we sweep the highs here. That's a nice little candle flip there. I like that. Now we need to engulf. Still having trouble, but I think that I'm seeing some buyers showing up on the tape again.
I love shorting gold.
Is it working? Are we making money yet? Yeah, my gold's cooking a little bit. Don't love that.
Powers to come get after the gold here. Let's get it. Let's get it, guys. We'll see what else is out there.
Not the strongest candle close. Looks like they want to try to sweep that low and take my stops. Classic. They might be targeting this imbalance down at 550.50. Back another VWAP back test kind of. So that's something to consider. But ooh, okay.
UPS coming back now, 97.74. So that was an interesting move there on UPS. Now starting to lift again. So it might be through the 98s. Could be back at 100. This was at 102 this morning. So we'll see. It's starting to climb. SPY still putting a battle right now.
It's hanging out. It's hanging out. I'm having a hard time reading this because every other minute candle, I'm like, well, maybe this. Well, maybe this. So I'm just going to stick to the original plan. I have my stops in place.
Yep. Yeah, you got to look for the speed up, right? So right now we're in slow down. And so right now it's all about when does the momentum get picked up again? And then just staying calm during that time is the hard part, right?
Yeah,
a lot of traders can't stay calm during that time. They start adding. They start adding, looking for bigger returns instead, of waiting for the move to happen.
The old martingale. Okay, so this is looking more constructive now. I think it's fine. I think it's time for me to stop looking at 1-minute charts.
Oh, for sure. You got to be looking a little deeper at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I always flip back and forth, but I'm like, I need to see it, Mitch. I need to see the granularity.
Yeah. So, for those traders, I think it's important, right? I mean, what can you do, right? If you're trying to look at multi-time frames, is just set it up that way, right? Set up charts where you can have the multi-time frames, and then you can just look at them at the same time, right? You see how this chart is split into 2, right? You might want split into 4, right? Or split into 3. Maybe you're looking at a 1 minute with an hourly and then a daily, or maybe you're looking at a 15 hourly and daily. That's how I used to have it set up. And I think it's important. I think, I don't have as much screen space as I used to have, but I always want more. More screen space. I know there's those traders out there. They're like, oh, I only have one big screen. I don't need all these 15 screens. No, I will take 60 screens if I could get them. I got no problem looking at charts, and I like looking at charts. So I like having them big, so where I can see them really well. But that's just me, right? I mean, it's all dependent on how you like it. I have 4 screens, and I'm always looking to get more.
Yeah, I feel that. No, absolutely. One thing that's a great segue. I will be doing a webinar coming up on setting up TradingView or Thinkorswim, whatever your platform of choice is, to kind of maximize your screen real estate. No matter if you have 1 screen, 2 screens, 3 screens, we got it all. We got it all. So we'll be looking into that.
Love it.
Just while I'm here, there's a really nice tip on TradingView. You can just really quickly go change interval 5 minutes, 10 minutes. 15 minutes and just get it. And I have the time frames locked on here. So look at the expansion. So now we're seeing on the expansion on the 15-minute chart, we're about to sweep this. Let's check in with the 1 hour.
SPY looking good, man. SPY looking good.
Thesis playing out. My stop or my take profit, partial take profit should hit right here. My next partial take profit will be up on this wick here, yesterday's pre-market high. And I think we have room to expand up into 555 to potentially 560 in the next day or two. So those are my targets. That's how I'm using these different time frames to quickly flip back. Let's go to the 1 minute because, oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. And now back to the 5 to keep our heads straight. So one big base here so far.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. That makes me feel good about the Roku. It makes me want to add, but that's why I wait. I wait for the move, right? And then I can maybe add once I'm deep into the green. Then I can try to ride the trend as the trend's my friend. But until the trend's my friend, you got to stay on the sideline. One area I'm seeing breaking out that could help here, I'm seeing energy pushing strong since about 10:30. Now I'm seeing XLF take off to the upside. So if you want to see the market kind of broaden out, right? This morning, it was a lot about what? It was a lot about on technology side. You can see it here in the XLF, XLK. You can see how the XLK is pushing towards what? Hourly highs, essentially. The 15 minutes really starting to push there. So it looks good. Ooh. Now look at XLF. Big push there in XLF, right? XLI was doing good already. Now continuing to push there. Boeing could get a nice little lift there. I talked about how UPS was coming back there. Now it's back at 97.80s. Did hold that VWAP really well. We'll look to see if that can continue to run. Overall, the spaces, the sectors. If you look here, I always keep this on the right-hand side. I do it by 5 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. Let's do it by 10 minutes. So the last 10 minutes, what is leading the market? Well, pretty much all of it at the same time lifting. That's good sign. Energy, industrials, financials, healthcare, basic materials, and technology up all in the very similar amount. So that's an overall broadening out of the rally that you want to see on this move. Let's just see if it can continue. What's in the red? Nothing in the red from the open. That tells me another good sign, right? When nothing's red, essentially, we're just continuing to lift the tide here. The tide is lifting these boats, and the boats keep going higher and higher. We'll just see if we can continue climbing throughout the day. Unless there's bad news, I still see this as lifting. Right now, the SPY pushing strong here. 552.80s. We talked about when we get to the 552. That's a quick move there towards 553s. We'll see if it gets to the 553s. And that makes me still feel confident about my dust. I know that maybe some people would cover here. I'm actually feeling more confident. It just keeps holding. I'm looking even at deeper time frames on the dust. I'm going towards like the 30-minute to give myself that mentality of, hey, it keeps building here. Look for that break. We'll see if we get that break above the 30-30s. That's the real breakout. That gives me a nice big win. All right, Mitch likes big charts. He cannot lie. You know it, Duke the Fool. I cannot lie, man. I can't lie. The bigger the charts, the better. Let me just say that much. And we'll continue battling, like always, guys. It's 10:58. We'll just wrap it up here as dust starts to make the move to 30-20s. And you guys see it. I'm pretty big. There's very rare times I'm going to be this big, guys. I'm feeling confident. I'm going to take the shot. We'll see what happens there in dust. long off the 3019s, and we're at 3019 right now. So can't blame myself for building the position here. Let's just see if it can start to make the move and continue to grind higher. A good sign, like we talked about, GLD back down, right? Will this 15 minutes start to break and go back below the VWAP? That's the sign for the win. We'll see what happens, traders. Like always, continue the battle. Reach out to my man, Justy Trades on Twitter, and reach out to what you want Steve to cover more of, right? He's doing these webinars, but if you have a specific area you're looking for, or for myself to cover, we're always willing to kind of give you guys the education, help you guys continue to push towards the next level. Reach out to us. Steve, you're going to be back tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, bright and early.
You guys hear it first, heard it first. Steve here tomorrow. Of course, Money Mitch will be back. I'll be back, guys, and we'll see where else we can find. I have some more traders come in on Thursday. I got my man Triple D finally coming on. I'm going to force him to come on, even if he has to bring the kids, whatever he has to do. The guy knows a lot, and I want to bring him to you guys so that you guys can learn from him. Like always, reach out to us if you guys got a guest you guys want on this show. I'll reach out myself, of course, and we'll bring him on. We'll be back like always. Steve, keep battling out there. And all you guys out there, realize the market ain't easy, and it's always about staying with it, right? Whether it be on the bull side or the bear side. You can't fall in love with either side, because that's easy how you get wrecked. We'll see you guys back like always right here on Trade the Pool.